So, hi everyone, I'm glad to see you here. Please take a seat, make yourself comfortable and look around. We are starting. So, I'm Olga Kai, Head of Immersive Projects at Inloco Gallery, and we are inside our last virtual world, Vertical Horizon, dedicated to the art of Karim Jabari, a Tunisian calligraphy artist. Today is not our usual monthly MetaTalk event. It's something special because every November our offline team hosts a conference in Dubai on urban art practices, and we are host a parallel program on hybrid, or as some people call it, physical practices. So yeah, 3 of the panel talks with the incredible worldwide speakers. And today we're discussing a topic, immersive technologies for cultural heritage, strategies for wider public reach, with our amazing guests, Oxana Chvyakina, Curatorial and Project Manager, VIVE Arts, Ines Said, Immersive Artist and XR Developer, and Marcin Klimek, Impulse Research Fellow. Yeah, also, we have something new and very special today because this event is not only going virtual, but also in the physical space. So we host this event in a hybrid format with a great community. It's called DAO's Hub. Yeah, hi guys. I can't see you, but I hope you are there somewhere. And for those who have never heard about DAO's Hub before, a couple of words about who they are. DAO's Hub is a collaboration hub for the Web3 startup community. This is a place where people can connect with the other right people and have meaningful conversation and create something valuable together in Web3. So in case you are based in Dubai and you're looking for a workspace or event support, just let the DAO's Hub team know. And let's go back to our guests. I think they will introduce themselves better than I do. So let's start with Oxana. Please tell us about your company, what kind of projects you work on, and I'll share the show reel in a second. And I just want to remind the protocol, we have 15 minutes for every introduction. Oksana?
Hi everyone. Hi Olga. Thank you so much for your introduction. It's great to be here today. My name is Oxana Chvyakina. I'm a curatorial and project manager at VIVE Arts. For those of you who have not heard about us yet, VIVE Arts, it's a global arts initiative and HTC company. We support artists and cultural institutions to experiment with immersive technology. We mainly work with museums, art galleries, art commissions, biennials and art fairs, although our mission is centered around 3 key aims: widening access to cultural heritage, supporting artistic innovation, and also building an ecology for immersive arts. Maybe we can see a show reel to give a glimpse of our project. The company was founded in 2017, and since our beginning, we have partnered with over 70 museums and institutions globally to develop different immersive experiences and location-based experiences for museums like Victoria and Albert Museum in London, Tate Modern, Musée d'Orsay, and many more.
All right, I'm ready.
Great. Thank you so much, Olga, for showing this. Since our panel today is centered around cultural heritage, I thought I would show a few projects that we've done in the recent years centered around this topic. For example, one of the most recent ones was for the Chateau de Versailles in France. We were the co-producers for the Lost Gardens of the Sun King location-based experience. It is a collective and interactive VR multi-user experience that revives three now historically significant lost spaces of Versailles Gardens. They were built under the reign of Louis XIV, the Sun King, hence the title of the experience. And the idea is that this experience welcomes visitors to experience the scientific and historical reconstruction of the three lost spaces. It is the Royal Menagerie, the Labyrinth Grove, and the Grotta de Tetis. Maybe we can see a trailer now. Yes, so this experience is currently on view in Chateau de Versailles until 4th of January next year. So I cordially invite everyone, if you're around the area, please do come and experience it. It's a very special project for us. It's a multi-user experience, and at the palace there are modules for 10 to 12 people to experience it all together. You will be seeing, everyone will be seeing the exact same storyline, but you will be all together in one space. That's made due to the location-based software developed by VIVE HTC that allows people to be all together and experiencing one production at the same time. For this project, and as for many other of our projects, we worked with collaboration with amazing team of co-producers, Gideon Experiences, and Small Creative, who developed the project technically. It is the development studio. And also Chateau de Versailles participated in the development of this project. The Chateau Research Center contributed to make the experience not only accurate, but also just to make sure that all the architectural elements are positioned in VR in the right place where they were in the past, and that all the animals, for example, are really the ones that were present at the menagerie at the time of the Louis XIV. So this experience covers quite an exclusive material that was part of the big a big part of the project to digitize and restore the maps of the Chateau de Versailles, and there are different reconstructions created that are currently in hold of the co-producers team. Another project that was developed just recently by VIVE Arts is Monsieur Vincent. It was the project of 2023. Maybe we can have a look at the trailer now. Yes, this experience was also part of a big museum collaboration with Musée d'Orsay in Paris, France. It was part of the physical exhibition at the museum Van Gogh in Uvers, the last month of Van Gogh. Basically, the last month of Van Gogh's life he spent at the Uvers in France, close to Paris, where he worked, and it was quite a prolific period of his career. And currently, the Museum of Amsterdam holds the last Pele Van Gogh ever used. And for this exhibition, it was one of the most central pieces, and we collaborated with another co-production team, another creative team, to develop an interactive experience about Van Gogh's last month of his life. And a big part of this experience was this pally. The whole idea of the experience was to make sure that we can preserve the last remaining pally of Van Gogh in a digital form, in the most stunning detail and like brush strokes preserved. Basically, given that this pally is quite unique, it is still obviously something that not every museum visitor can get close to or like examine in details. But due to VR technology, this production, it captured every detail of the pally in a really incredible quality, so people could experience it in full. We collaborated with Gigascope company, who were able to create a special system that allowed the team to take very high definition photos of the very last pally Van Gogh ever used. So it became a landscape for the user to walk in the VR experience. And also, since this experience is dedicated to the last month of Van Gogh's life, the beginning and the ending of the production, it takes place in the house of Dr. Gachet, Van Gogh's friend. And this space, it was also recreated from the archives that we were able to obtain for this project. And for the visitors, for the users, it's very moving to be in this room that actually Van Gogh ever saw with his own eyes. And maybe just the last project I mentioned today would be the partnership with the Louvre for Mona Lisa experience. Olga, if you would be able to show the trailer for us. It is actually quite a long behind-the-scenes video, but I don't think we will watch like everything. Maybe just
it's
a
something
minute
completely
or so.
new. It's the first time that we are using virtual reality for an experience for the visitors within the Louvre. It is the most visited museum in the world. We are welcoming roughly 10 million of visitors, which is of course a lot.
Everybody wants to see the painting, but because of the crowd, you have the average of 30 seconds stand in front of the paintings because there are too many people.
It's very important that we are able to address both people who are coming here and people who are not coming here, but who are interested in the Louvre.
They said, we need to find a way to get closer to the painting and what Da Vinci wanted to express. And the VR experience sounds to be the best way to do it.
We were really happy to work with HTC and Immersive to create this meeting between our curators, experts of Leonardo, and VR experts.
It took us a gigantic amount of work to separate the myth from the truth, and we discovered the techniques that were used.
We wanted to explain the story behind that painting. The composition and the way Da Vinci did it was a revolution at this, because he created a new way of painting people.
Mona Lisa is both a masterwork, but it's also an image that is very easy to understand. She's a woman, but still she's not a movie star, and she's behaving very properly, so it's quite easy to get along with her.
Bring Mona Lisa to life was a real challenge because we only know her face.
Thank you. Thank you, Olga. I would recommend everyone, if you are interested to learn about this further, to take a look at the VIVE Arts YouTube channel. We do create quite amazing behind-the-scenes videos about every project, and you could certainly see more. But just to explain more about the context of Mona Lisa, it was the partnership of the 2019 and VIVE Arts, Immersive company, and the Louvre worked together to reproduce high-resolution scans of the Mona Lisa painting, so people could be able to see every detail hidden from the plain view. This experience, Mona Lisa Beyond the Glass, it toured the world, and later it was released for home viewing, and it's also available now on VivePort platform for free, so you're able to download it and learn about this experience just at home.
Yeah, I already have it. I uploaded it, but not experienced yet. But actually, I just wanted to say that I'm completely in love with what you do at VIVE. It's not the first time I've seen your project, because the last time was at Venice Immersive when I experienced a project called Le Magie Opéra.
Yeah, it was this year, right? Yeah, it's quite amazing one.
Yes. Yes, it was amazing, amazing project with the VIVE support. So yeah, thank you guys for everything you're doing for supporting us poor XR folk.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
I'm glad to
Oxana.
hear.
And let's move on to our next guest, Ines Said, immersive artist and XR developer. And I need just a second to start your slides, Ines.
Yeah, thank you, Olga. Okay, well, hi everyone, and thank you so much for having me today. This is actually my very first virtual panel, and I'm already super impressed by the space and the setup. Thank you so much for inviting me. Well, I'm very happy to share a project that's very personal to me today. It actually started with a small idea, something I was kind of doing on my own, and then it grew to a whole community. Next slide. Oh, hi, my name is Ines, and my whole work sits at the intersection of art, culture, and immersive technology. I finished my master's in digital arts and sciences, and today I work as a lead XR developer at Frolic, where I make educational materials for sustainability every day. I also had the chance to teach a few classes on immersive tools and experiences at the University of Florida. I worked there for a while as an adjunct lecturer. And outside of all of that, I recently in July started my nonprofit project, Tanit XR, which is the project I'm going to share with you today. So my background, I am originally from Tunisia. I usually start all my presentation with this, and I ask people if they know Tunisia, and a lot of the time they don't. So that is why I'm here today. I'm guessing this is a Dubai event, so maybe you already know Tunisia. I'm really
Sure.
happy to be a part. Yeah, right. And the space was developed by Tunisia, inspired by Tunisian artists, which makes me even more
Yeah,
excited.
exactly.
Yeah, so my background is actually fully in computer science. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science, so I've been coding for my whole life, pretty much. But I've also always been interested in art. I do all sort of traditional art, like oil painting, acrylic painting, mosaic, glass, anything that includes art. I probably have tried it. So XR or virtual reality was the perfect mix for me as it allowed me to combine both technology and art. So far my work in XR has always been focused on education and social impact. Everything I work on, I try to make it have some sort of impact. I got the chance to present my work internationally. I also built a lot of projects for museums, nonprofits, and environmental organizations. One of the projects was actually displayed at the Smithsonian in DC, which probably was the highlight of my career. And recently, I was recognized by North American Association for Environmental Education as one of their 30 under 30 for environmental education. And I'm sharing this because this was really meaningful to me because it proved to me that XR can be used as a really good educational tool, even though it's not a traditional one. So yeah, I know a lot of you maybe already know a bit about Tunisia here, but Tunisia has a very incredible, rich and diverse history. It's been home to a lot of civilizations, including Phoenicians, Romans, Byzantines, and Islamic civilization, and they all left traces that still shape our daily life to today. We actually have 9 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, even though it's a very small country. And it goes from ancient ports, temples, to amphitheaters and mosaics that a lot of them are still in amazing condition. This is Al Jam, one of our UNESCO Heritage Site. It's actually one of the biggest Roman amphitheaters in the world. And it always surprises people that it's not in Rome. This is actually in Tunisia. It's almost out in the middle of nowhere in a very small town, and it is not very popular and it gets very little visitors, even though it's as impressive as you can see in the pictures. And actually, I got the chance to visit it last week. So yeah, I wanted to talk to you about a little bit of the challenge and what made me want to start my nonprofit, TanitXR. So even though Tunisia has this incredible heritage, unfortunately, a lot of it is slowly fading away, and I can see it happening right in front of my eyes. It's not something that I'm just reading about in a book or hearing from somebody. So unfortunately, some of the sites deal with a lot of looting and theft, but honestly, the bigger issue is simply neglect. Um, Places are not really maintained, and a lot of them started to break down over time. And we also deal with a lot of climate change issues. We have extreme heats, and then we have sudden floods, and we also have the rise in sea levels in Jerba, one of the southern islands in Tunisia. Some heritage areas are already partially submerged, and some of the heritage sites are already damaged and underwater. This is happening right now. It's not happening in the future. And a lot of sites are facing similar risks. But I would say the biggest problem is definitely disconnect. A lot of us grew up just looking at these ruins. They were just everywhere. Wherever you go, you see a Roman cultural heritage site. And it just ended up feeling like background for a lot of people. And I even heard people say that, why are you trying to preserve what they called old rocks? Well, there definitely so much more than old rocks, and hopefully we can prove that with Tanit. So yeah, I also wanted to talk about our approach, which is actually very simple. We use photogrammetry and 3D scanning with tools that anyone can access, even just through their phone. So we're trying to use very low cost tools. The goal of this project was never to make this a technical or exclusive project. We wanted something people could join easily wherever they are. So everything we scan goes into an open digital archive that anyone can access. This project is actually fully volunteer driven. People message me almost every day wanting to contribute or scan something from their own region. Even a simple 3D scan becomes a record that all future generations can learn from. And so this could be open to people from Tunisia or people from the other side of the world that can explore our archaeological sites. So far, we've scanned more than 60 artifacts from over 15 different locations across Tunisia. And this is only in the past 4 months since we started. So we've been traveling all around the country, going to all different sites and scanning artifacts there. The project actually grew much faster than I expected. We get messages almost every day from people wanting to contribute. And we've been also connecting with archaeologists, nonprofits, and supporters from all around the world. Actually, recently we had a lot of media features, and we've been featured by Al Jazeera, Mosaic FM, and Radio Mad, which really helped a lot of people discover our work and volunteer with it. And I've been definitely getting pushed outside of my comfort zone a lot in this project. As I said, I was doing mostly coding and making virtual words, but since I started this, I've been doing a lot more speaking engagement and speaking on live radios, which has been definitely a growing experience for me. So this is just the beginning, and hopefully we'll grow a lot more in the future. So it's been really encouraging to see how many young people want to join our work. We now have volunteers on the ground scanning with us during our scanning days, and every week new people reach out, and every week we meet and talk about our future plans. We also started running an online free photogrammetry workshop that's open to everyone that wants to learn about the photogrammetry and how we can use it in digital preservation. And then one last thing I wanted to talk about is if you like this project, how you can get involved and volunteer with us. We're looking for supporters who want to help us grow and people who are excited to hold workshops or share their knowledge. We need volunteers from all different types of skills. I can name a few like 3D scanning, Blender, Maya, photogrammetry, or storytelling and research. And we're not only looking for experts, we want people that want to learn and then also people who want to teach. Yeah, Tanit XR is growing and we hope to have more people join us. And I wanted to share a video next that my sister made. Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm excited to be part of this panel today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ines. And I already told our audience about these two amazing sculptures. We uploaded them right from the Sketchfab site, and it was very easy for us because Sketchfab has a direct connection to this platform. So I think they looks amazing, actually. They look amazing. Yeah, and also it's so great to see more and more crowdsourced projects. It just, brings back faith in humanity, honestly. And I hope more institutions will participate in this process too. Thank you, Ines, and let's move on to our next guest, Marcin Klimek, Impulse Research Fellow. And I'm uploading your slides right now. Please, Marcin, the stage
Thank
is...
you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Olga. Yeah, pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I'm super happy to share some thoughts and then discuss number of very interesting topics. So yeah, while waiting for slides, I have just a few slides maybe to just lead you through the project itself. Yeah, as Olga mentioned, my name is Marcin. I'm actually founder of the project called AvatarCam, as well as I'm part of AR/VR Association, and also like mainly today I'm representing the Impulse project that we are going to, and hopefully you are going to learn a bit more about. So yeah, we have a slide in front of us. Yeah, so we can immediately go to the next one, I believe. Yeah, and in terms of the Impulse project, I'm as you may imagine, that's more like a research part of that panel today. So Impulse project is a European Union project that was actually founded by a quite nice and diverse set of partners. So we have like entire formal consortium around that. Project was incorporated in 2024. And you can see all the universities and companies involved in that project at the bottom. The project itself, as I mentioned, it's mainly like a research project that we are performing around the cultural heritage. And the main idea behind that project was to actually take the cultural heritage that we have, and there is so many great assets, materials, and elements already digitized, but also like in process of digitizing. And we thought, yeah, how great that would be actually to make it available to the public in much easier and better way. Because right now, as you can imagine, because the cultural heritage institutions, they are fairly strict, and also like they are not that deep into the XR environment or gaming, like all the virtual worlds. We felt that we need to help them, And that's exactly like what was at the heart of that project. Just giving you an example, there was a great New Year's Eve concert from Jean-Michel Jarre when he was, performing his concert live, like using the mocap suit. It was in the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. But effectively, like they've been building the entire world for the VR chat. And one of the things was that technically, like the team behind that project was not able to like work directly with the Notre Dame Cathedral just to get some kind of replica of that space. They actually used some kind of third-party, project that was on Sketchfab to actually go for that. What actually illustrates, how disconnected, the formal institutions are from the actual, gaming platforms like the ones that we are in right now as well. So yeah, we thought that would be actually amazing, and we came up with the project. So there is 12 partners I mentioned. Like it's a nice mix of universities, research partners, but as well as like my company or K8, more like commercial companies that are also like helping and advising in that project. So if we move to the next slide, you'll see that actually we have like 5 objectives behind that project. The project is actually going to last for 3 years. So it's a bit more time that we have, and we are in the middle, more or less right now. So as I mentioned like previously, we definitely want to enhance the accessibility of the cultural heritage and make the content that is already there or is being created much easily accessed by any third-party platforms, creators, even the guys that we have like in the panel today here. Improve the access and presentation, but also like streamline the processes. So the project is quite diverse, and we have very diverse group of people. I will talk about that in a second, but yeah, definitely the process itself of digitalizing and then exposing, it's not that easy right now. There are some standards, but yeah, it's not super accessible, and definitely the methods that are being used by the let's say the cultural heritage institutions, they are slightly different. So you can imagine like they are creating, for example, huge scans that are effectively impossible to be used in like spaces like this one because they are too much complex to work in efficient way there. But also we wanted to foster the collaboration that was also here today. So we are connecting with many other partners. We are organizing the group of supporters, as well as we're organizing hackathons just to spark that conversation and like share the findings that we have. And ultimately, we want to develop also the legal framework around that. So as I mentioned, like it's quite diverse way of working, and we are addressing that from a few different angles. So when we move to the next slide, you will understand that effectively, we are actually like the entire project is like, I think around 100 of people working on this right now. And what you can see in here is that we actually like split the work into work packages. So that's how it's formally also called, like in like the European Union projects. But that was actually on purpose, just to not think only about some particular aspects of using cultural heritage in real virtual worlds, let's say, but to actually address that from 3 different perspectives. So we have one team that is responsible for experimenting with the storytelling and using those assets, how they can be used, how they can be utilized. They are doing a lot of experimentation and design work around that. We have immersive technologies package that I'm actually part of mostly, where we are effectively building an entire dedicated platform for that experimentation. So it's like you can think about something much more basic but similar to the spatial platform, where we actually were more thinking about the features and experiences that are more around experiencing the culture, especially in group and multi-user experiences. So that's the main focus of work there. We have another part of the team that is focused on the standards and analyzing them, defining them, and trying to propose some stuff to the European Union, because ultimately also, if you think about like these kind of projects, there is usually like one main objective, and for Impulse, the main objective is actually to provide guidance and good understanding to the European Commission. How those cultural heritage elements can be actually exposed and presented, and hope we have a huge and deep hope that our work can be then used to spark this collaboration around the cultural heritage in European Union and maybe even beyond. Apart from that, there is another package that is legal and safety. So this is the team that is more responsible for actually all the legal aspects of the cultural heritage, and that's super complex topics. We have a few colleagues here in Krakow, where I'm based in, where they are actually actively trying to analyze and understand what are the all the legal aspects of cultural heritage, how it can be shared, what are the licenses that should be used. Super complex, especially that it varies country by country as well as on the European level. There is a number of different edge cases that they are also flagging. So yeah, super challenging. And of course, dissemination and communication. So that's the part where we focus on the actual communication of the project and also supporting that community efforts that I mentioned. Moving to the next slide, we getting a bit more practical. So I was more high level, providing you a high level description of the project. Getting very practical, as you saw on the first slide, we actually have a number of universities and organizations that are actually having a lot of content. So University of Malta, Jagiellonian University in Krakow. There is a lot of existing cultural heritage content that we can use. Some of the items you can see on that screen right now. So that's actually a very diverse set of things. So of course we have a lot of 3D models, 3D objects, both static and also animated. So there are some volumetric recordings. There are some scans that you can see actually in the middle top part or on the right side. So some kind of even minerals, rocks that are huge collections that are just lying there and doing nothing at this stage, but we definitely want to put it into motion and just give that to creative guys to actually work with them. But of course, apart from the 3D objects that are the core part of the usually every single XR experience, we are also having a lot of images, so scans, photos. We have a lot of videos as well. So at the top part, there's a guy that actually there's a video recording of his interview. We have a lot of audio files. So we're actually trying to work with all those different files. We cataloged them at the beginning. And right now we are also working, on some kind of framework to actually, work with them across the organizations, be able to upload them to the system and so on. And there is a lot of requirements that we're also preparing for other teams to utilize that in the future. So yeah, from the assets perspective, there is a lot of crazy things that we're trying to use and merge them together. We're working with AI as well, trying to understand what are the possibilities to actually take this content, even if it's a static 2D image. So that's something that you can see in the middle, that there are some biological, drawings from the Bible that Malta University exposed. And the experiment that you can see in the middle is that we are actually trying to take them, those 2D images, very ancient drawings, and then convert them into 3D models using AI. So that's also part of the understanding how we can repurpose the content and use it. So if that would be just the basic usage, we would be able to expose some kind of 2D images, but thanks to AI we can actually get much better results with actually converting that into 3D models that can be used. So you can imagine some kind of interior spaces like churches or something. You can imagine some kind of objects like helmets or something like this that can also be based on some kind of drawings. It can be actually converted into 3D models and then exposed. And of course, as you can imagine, there is tons of different challenges around also a copyright of that and so on. So a lot of work around just trying to understand how the content that we have, digitized content, can be used. And on this slide, you can see the platform that we are building. So as I mentioned, something similar to Spatial, it's still fairly early because, as you can imagine, we're working on that project for more of the year. But at the beginning, actually, we approached that from quite interesting perspective of actually not very strictly scoping the project itself, because we were aware that the space is changing and evolving so quickly, and that would be very challenging to be able to define the actual scope. And probably if we would define that scope, like as you can imagine, like 2 years ago, it would be outdated at the beginning of the project. That's why we decided to go very flexibly, and we left a lot of blank spots for us. That's why we, for example, right now can put in the AI that was actually on the advent was over the last year. So that was really helpful. But the platform itself, as I mentioned, that's a Unity based platform for just utilizing those assets. So you can see, like on the image, that there are some assets and some minerals, for example, that are like placed on the stage, and then we can experience them. We can try to enrich them. We can try to compose them in some kind of crazy structures as well. And then we are trying to figure out, especially with this experimentation and artistic team, how they can be utilized and used in many different ways. So then we can document that and give other teams to work on. Yeah, and here you can actually see exactly what I described. So that was like some kind of drawing that we then with AI converted into the 3D models. So there was like a set of these kind of drawings, and then those drawings, they've been actually used to compose some kind of forest. So that was more like organs drawings, but then some kind of blood system or something. But then we effectively turned that into some kind of nature wild part of the of the environment. Yeah, so definitely that's the scope. As I mentioned, ultimately we are doing our best and collecting all those researchers and creative fellows to actually work together to provide the market with quite good understanding what's needed and what needs to happen to actually be able to expose cultural heritage in much easier and better way to creators, to creative companies, to individual creators as well, so they can play with them and use them in many different ways. And of course, all of that aligned well with the law and licenses and everything else. Yeah, so that would be. I'm super happy again to participate in the panel and take my voice there. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcin, and I'm personally very grateful to you guys and your project, because you uploaded a lot of very useful documents, and I use them for my own talks many times already.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think your
definitely.
project...
There's a space here, right? There's a teleport here. If you want to learn more, there's a website, of the Impulse project. So yeah, feel free to go there and just learn more. There's a lot of publications that we're putting there, so you can also read them. And
trust me, guys, definitely worth it. A lot of interesting documents. And I think actually your project deserves much more attention from the broader audience, actually. And I want to start with this topic, public reach. Because from my work with immersive projects, I've learned that creating just a great experience is only half the job. It's not enough, because the other half is bringing an audience to it. And my question is, how do you deal with audience outreach in your projects? Who is your core audience? How do you reach them? What has proven to work, or I don't know, not work in your practice, Marcin?
Yeah, so definitely, that's one of the biggest challenge if you're in a public space, if you're a company, and very interesting one to tackle. And that's why from the very beginning, as you saw, in terms of the structure of the project, we actually have a dedicated team for that. In case of Impulse, we have actually quite interesting challenge, because we are having two different parts of the audience, let's say. So on one hand, we have researchers that we are trying to actively engage with and start collaboration with them. On the other hand, we're also working a lot with students and immersive creators to also get that part of the equation right. So that's also we learned that we actually need to use slightly different channels for them. And I think the dissemination part of the project is actually doing a great job right now around that. So on one hand, we are very actively on the scientific side. We are publishing papers, we are publishing a lot of documents, we are participating in many different conferences. Janeta, who is actually the lead of the project, She's also like doing a lot of work, participating in many different organizations as well, just to get a proper visibility and build those supporters and contacts for the project. So yeah, definitely, that's also like I think the good thing of that project, because most of the people that are in that project, they are actually scientists themselves, and they are working at universities and public institutions. So they are aware how to, what channels they can use actually to access like this kind of people. So that's one thing. And also like the other part, so more like a younger audience or creators, and effectively, the audience that is going to be able to use the cultural heritage to create some kind of, amazing and beautifully looking experiences. We approach them slightly different. So with that, we are actually actively running the social media. We also created a dedicated Discord channel that we're also like inviting you all to join, where we're also like trying to actively discuss like the topics, but more from the creator's perspective. So we've been trying to invite, and we are like actively doing that, some kind of scientists to that Discord channel. But as you can imagine, like scientists are not using Discord that much comparing to like a younger audience. So yeah, so that's more like a second bucket where we spark the conversation in a bit different format. But that's exactly it. Like we're working with a tool, slightly different audience groups, and you need to approach them in a way that is like just natural for them. But yeah, definitely social media, like from Instagram, LinkedIn. I think we're going to experiment with TikTok a bit as well. Then also like Discord just for the direct communication. Yeah. So yeah, it's like the truth is that, for example, we've been having the hackathon meeting on Malta in September this year. So there's like most of the part is actually remote work. With all the teams, as you can imagine, they are distributed around Europe, but we are having some kind of physical meetings. And like the TikTok actually was one of the hottest topics there, because we've been actually talking to the younger guys, and they say like I'm using TikTok on a daily basis, and that's where we are and where we start learning. So yeah, definitely we need to be aware of the like these kind of channels, and like keep promoting people to actually help them just learn about the project. Of course, they will probably ultimately use some other channels as well, but that's more for building awareness.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Marcin. And what do you think about that, Ines? Because I see how you draw attention to your project with social media and even with the LinkedIn newsletter. By the way, thank you for this newsletter. It's very useful and amazing. So how is it working in terms of effectiveness for you?
Yeah, thank you so much, Olga. I'm happy you've been reading that newsletter. But yeah, with TanitaXR, we've been using all sorts of ways to reach people. But honestly, it's been kind of speaking for itself. So how this project started is that me and my sister showed up at Carthage, and we scanned one model. And then what I did is that I just took that model, posted it on LinkedIn, and somehow everybody was so interested in the project. I only made one post, and from that we got several volunteers sign up, a lot of interest, and we started getting invited to events. I definitely keep posting every week on LinkedIn about the project to hopefully keep people thinking about it and to keep updating them in real time. But yeah, social media has been really effective for us. We've been also sharing videos of our scan days and keeping people updated on every aspect of the project, especially since it's a community-made project. On the other side, outside of social media, actually, I was really impressed by one of our most recent events. I showed up at an event in Tunisia to speak about TanitaXR, and something really new happened to me, is that entire families showed up to the presentation. It wasn't what I expected, just young people that are interested in XR. There were entire families, and I'm talking including kids and grandparents, which was very which was very interesting to me, and it made me think, okay, this project can be more than a youth project of scanning environments. We can include the entire family. They can all come with us to scan. And I even ended up teaching a lot of our family members how to do that. And then they kept spreading it throughout the community. So there's definitely a lot of community work here. Also, outside of Tunisian, we had a lot of international volunteer base. Our volunteers come from the US, Germany, Jordan, Dubai, Tunisia, Sweden, different areas of the world. And every time that they send me updates, I'm always so shocked by how much work they're putting into the project. And I'm really happy about it. So yeah, to answer this question, our audience has been very diverse, and this is the first project that I do with such an diverse project with such a diverse audience base. Um, and yeah, so LinkedIn, social media, and community outreach.
Sounds great. It's, almost like a viral effect. Lucky you. All right. And I think companies such as VIVE have much more resources for promo. So, Oksana, could you please tell us more about how you work with a public reach with your audience?
Thank you, Olga. We definitely use also the different marketing tools and continuing media outreach to different outlets about our projects and productions. We do, of course, have social media engagement, and we try to keep in touch with our audience globally. But I would mention also that in our case, we have a very specific distribution model that is based on the format. Many of our projects are targeted to the infrastructure that is specifically focused on location-based experiences. And typically we take care of the Asia region, and our partners, they look after Europe and other territories. So I would mention that probably at the beginning of the production of the project, thinking about the outreach and how we will show the project to our audience. This is a very integral part of the that happens at the very beginning of the project. And without thinking of the distribution, how the projects will live in future after the premiere, we kind of couldn't really think about the kickoff of the production. So that was probably our learning, the main one that I wanted to share. I think it's quite helpful for different kind of creators. Before you start to develop anything new, it's quite helpful to think to have some forward thinking about the future distribution for the experience.
Oh, right. Okay, and I just, I was curious how VIVE are connected to the Vivers.
We are both business units under the HTC company. For those of you who have not heard yet, VIVEverse, it's a platform similar to the one we are now. It's a metaverse platform, viveverse.com. I actually wanted to mention that currently there are two really excellent opportunities for those who are interested in immersive tech and game design. There are two opportunities for people who are currently part of universities, for students. It's called VIVEverse Spark. There are different hackathon opportunities and challenges where you can look into participating and gaining funding for your productions. And another one is for people outside the universities. It's basically for creators. It's called VIVEverse Creator Program, where if you are looking for opportunities like in immersive 3D experiences or game development, this program probably could be the first that would be funding your next project. So I would definitely recommend looking into these two opportunities at VIVEverse, which could be quite useful for those of you who are just starting in immersive technologies.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're already, in dialogue with your colleagues. So I
That's great.
hope we will participate in this program. It's amazing opportunity. So you guys, if you are creators, I definitely recommend you to. All right, so let's move on from the most painful topic to the practical questions. Let's talk about advantages and limits. So, from your perspective, what are the main advantages of using immersive technology, especially for preserving and sharing cultural heritage? What can XR do here that, more traditional formats just can't? Let's start with Oksana.
Thank you for the question, Olga. I mean, in my opinion, immersive technologies, they do definitely offer something that traditional formats can't provide for the audiences. They can turn cultural heritage into an experience rather than observation, even like agency to the user, to the visitor, to the person experiencing the production. I think XR, it really enables new forms of storytelling where the audiences, they can inhabit some spaces that could be like more historical or speculative or even inaccessible. And from the curatorial perspective, I believe that XR gives a new creative language for the creative team, the one that's more like spatial and participatory. I believe this is something that most traditional formats, both in art world and curatorial history, cannot provide. So I believe this is something that could be very beneficiary for these fields.
Yeah, and what about the downside? What limitations do you see when immersive technologies are used in this field?
I mean, VR and immersive tech, there are still very many restraints. VR is facing, for many people, for many audiences, it's still quite a niche technology. There is lack of knowledge around it. There is still a lot of work to be done for accessibility for this technology. There is still, of course, a lot of positive development around this, but there is definitely a need for time for it to happen. And I think that it's also quite a unique field that definitely requires for professionals from different areas to collaborate together. It's a very collaborative field in my opinion. And in case if like one side, probably like someone from cultural or technical world or another field of expertise are just lacking in one project, it would mean that the whole project would be like not as well as it could look like for the final product, for the final delivery. So I think, yeah, just thinking about the project in whole and continuing this education about XR, about the immersive tech in general, and for the XR community to think more about the accessibility to diversify the audience of their productions. That would be something very helpful to have.
Yeah, unfortunately, we still have a lot of barriers here. Would you agree with that, Ines?
Yeah, definitely. But I would say for Tanitexar, the main thing we faced as of disadvantages is that VR has gathered some sort of bad reputation, actually. So every time I bring
How
it up,
so?
people. Hmm? Oh yeah, people think if they try any sort of the VR, they're just going to get sick. And
Oh,
every time I bring a headset, a lot of them just don't want to try it. So I found myself telling a lot of people, if it makes you sick, it's probably not well made. It means the environment was not optimized and there was just not much thought put into it or put into the user, because you have to think of how the motion works, about how optimized the environment is, and new experiences shouldn't make you feel sick. So
definitely.
obviously that made it, yeah, obviously that made it hard for us to attract a certain audience and let them try our experience in virtual reality.
Yeah, I agree. Motion sickness is such a headache for XR developers. I just hope one day we will do something with that. Um, so, Marcin, what do you think about advantages and limitations of immersive technology?
Yeah, so there's like definitely a lot, around that topic, and we are, as you heard, we are also doing a lot of research, around those topics. I completely agree on the technical side. Yeah, there is number of things we need to solve. I think one on the technical level. So as my previous speakers, they mentioned, yes, so the motion sickness is definitely the one. But ultimately, if you think about it, it's just making a step back. Like the truth is that the technology itself, it's not that easy to use and accessible to deliver like the proper quality experience. So yeah, you can do some kind of and you can easily make basic mistakes just to break the experience itself. So definitely there's a lot of work around the way the experiences can be created, and the creators that can be guided into introducing that. And I think there is a lot of innovation actually happening around that, especially with AI, and like even discussion around the future of gaming engines that are also like AI based. And I think we can try to probably use these kind of technologies to actually solve some of the issues. And also the equipment itself, it's of course evolving. It's not easy problem to tackle, and I'm in that space for the last 6 years, and I was watching how the hardware was evolving. I remember like the Quest was introduced for the first time. But still, like even taking the latest version of headsets, it's still quite a big challenge. And even like me myself, when I'm experimenting with this technology, I was been like having some kind of series of the times that I was even on a daily basis using the Quest as a my virtual office, let's say. But yeah, there's
Wow.
like, yeah, it's a very interesting experiment, and it's like when you are in that virtual reality, even if you are in the augmented version of that, it's still like very impressive and very very like helpful. But I was just trying to understand and observe myself during like these periods, and I can easily see that people are lazy in general, and there is this barrier that actually is not like driving you that strongly into VR for the longer periods of time. So yeah, so definitely there is a challenge, but I think it's more like experience. That's why I'm very closely watching the all the development around the actually the augmented reality glasses. So more like a glasses concept than headset concept. And I think that's something that needs to happen first, even if your glasses can actually turn black and just immerse you fully into the environment, but they need to be very lightweight, like they shouldn't like very intrusive, and so on. So definitely technical level is one thing. We see a lot of challenges around the legal aspects and the content. Right now it's like there is entire like another wave, because with the AI, like another thing is that there is a lot of tools that are able to create the content, like 3D content or some kind of assets automatically for you, and it's like not that well regulated just yet. So we analyze that on one hand, on the level it's actually quite complex in our case. So imagine the example I was just showing previously. You take some kind of photo of the ancient book. So you have the copyright of that ancient book that effectively somehow at some point in history was regulated. Then you have the photo of that book that is like another copyright item, and then you turn that photo into the 3D model that is another layer of complexity around the copyright, and it's like growing country by country and so on. So there is a huge challenges around that, and of course it's the copyright law is actually a very tricky one, and it's not always enforced properly. So there is a lot of gray space there, but something that is sometimes like hitting people, and they have a lot of trouble with that. So yeah, definitely that's another aspect, and also around the process. So as I mentioned, like there is I think we have like amazing creators. So on one hand, we have amazing creators that are trying to come up like with new models, new concepts, new worlds. So there's like platforms that are giving you ability to generate entire new worlds. But also like there is a lot of issues about how they are created, is the the copyright in place, and so on. But also I think with all that AI stuff that is of course introducing a lot of complexity, I think we are also getting a lot of like creative freedom right now. And you asked about the advantages of using XR spaces for the cultural heritage. I think the biggest one, like from my perspective, is actually being able to like first of all like preserve culture and make it much more accessible for people, so you don't need to physically be there somewhere to actually be able to experience it if it's done right. But on the other hand, and that's like I think evenly powerful, is that you can play like with the heritage and work with that in many creative ways, repurpose that, convert it like into different formats, and just be very creative. What is ultimately like building much deeper engagement with this content. So instead of just walking in the gallery and watching pictures, you can actually experience those those scenes, or like be part of some kind of like artistic performance on stage. So like a concert, even like taking more recent like things. Yeah, so that's completely building much higher engagement, but definitely needs to be done right. To not break.
Yes.
And yeah, help you.
Yeah, and
engage.
your last thought about performances and all other things just suddenly lead us to my next question, but some thoughts first, because in many projects I've seen there is a clear split between simple digital twins when you just scan reality and put it into virtual space, and more engaging experiences when you add some interaction, fictional elements, or for example, new narratives. So this is classic dilemma, historical accuracy versus artistic concept. And we at Inloco face this dilemma every time, but we decided to choose the second option because we always add something to the real exhibitions. We are too afraid of boring our audience. And that's also my personal preference. But I don't think that's the only right choice. So how do you see the role of each of these formats in cultural heritage? How to make the right choice from your point of view, Oxana? This question for you.
I think in many cases there's probably no need to really choose one angle, because I think it really depends on how the project was set, on its goals and setting, and like the project audience, all of this. For example, if the idea is to test the new technology, to show the development of the technology, and the venue that hosting the final production would be like more tech focused, it's completely all right to do like something more digital twin based, something like this. But if the mission is more to educate the audience, maybe there is a creative team or like a creator, an individual, an artist working behind the project, I think it would naturally just identify what the project would look like. Very often such kind of productions would merge physical and virtual boundaries that could be like a physical installation accompanying the virtual reality experience. So because I'm more like looking at this side as a curator, as a person like from the not very deep inside the creative process. To me, I think I think there is really no need to like very strictly define this split between what the project could look like when you work with the cultural heritage. I would recommend, just to have more of a creative freedom and just to let you drive naturally on the creative side of things.
Right. Yeah, I probably agree with that, but but still, I have some tough conversations about this, these lines where you can put your fantasy inside of this experience, and when it's not possible. So, what do you think? What do you think, Ines, about this topic?
Yeah, I also agree with what you said. I think historical accuracy and artistic concept can definitely get together. I think they actually complement each other. With Tanya Texar, we're actually building a museum right now that's very futuristic and creative, but it's holding all of the digital twins of the artifacts that we made, and it has this very beautiful creative guide that guides you throughout the experience, and then tells you more about the artifacts that you're looking at. I think it really depends on your goal. If your goal is cultural preservation, then digital twin is definitely very important, and that's what you want to do. But I also see where it can get complicated if you're trying to reimagine how cultural sites used to look. And I see a lot of projects doing that. Then it gets very contentional really quickly, because a lot of people start asking, oh, did it really used to look like this? This is not accurate. How did you get to that? And I think with Tanitexar, we're just avoiding that by not trying to get into historical what is it called, rebuilding. We're not trying to imagine how things used to look in the past, and we're focusing on preserving what we have right now and mixing it with futuristic environments. And we also have it here. We're in this futuristic environment, but we have the digital twins of the Tanitexar models.
Yeah, that's actually true. And this ancient Arab city, yeah, it's not the real one. It's just, you know, our fantasy about that. And yeah, by the way, about this space. My next question, not only for our speakers, but also for you guys, our audience. Please write some thoughts in the chat. What do you think about cultural heritage projects that are hosted on social virtual platforms like this one, where we are now? Or like, for example, I don't know, VIVE, VR chat, like you name it. In your opinion, does this format have a real impact in the future or not? Yeah, and this question, I think we will start with Marcin.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's also nicely touching on the previous topic that you raised about, you know, the accuracy. Yeah, because, you know, ultimately how I think about it is I always try to like have a perspective on the actual users and people that are going to experience, you know, some kind of, you know, XR environment that you create. And effectively, if you think from that perspective, you need to be very aware of the user group that you're like talking to. If that's, you know, younger audience, probably that's a slightly different approach that you need to take than the older guys. But also, even like not only that, but there may be also this element of, you know, some kind of phases when you start experimenting and actually going into some kind of topic. Whatever the topic is, it may be, you know, some kind of historical situation, it may be, you know, like king of Poland or something like this. But effectively, you start with some kind of initial engagement, and for that you need to attract, you know, the attention of your audience. So I think like XR is actually doing a great job, or like VR worlds, platforms like this, they're actually doing a great job to attract you know, people, and to do it in a very creative and unusual way. So effectively, that's exactly what you're looking for in terms of, you know, attraction. You want to surprise people with something that they haven't thought about initially, right? So I think, you know, like with that in mind, you can effectively use XR and like this kind of technologies to actually completely surprise people, so they spark their attention first, and then I think, you know, over time they will also evolve in those more, let's say, like classical parts of the platform. And, you know, you can think about the ABBA concept, for example. So you probably know that the ABBA came back as avatars. I think it was like 2 years ago with this Voyage.
Oh, you mean this band,
yeah.
right?
Music band. A band, exactly. So they effectively, like that's older people, but they use the mock-up technology, and they created their own like replicas, virtual replicas, and they've been, you know, performing on stage to completely different audience than they've been actually performing to like many years ago. And you know, that landed very well. And then probably most of that people, because they sparked their attention with XR, you know, performance, they probably started to listen to their songs like again, like, you know, just going deeper into the topic, right? That's exactly the mechanism that there is. Plus, you also need to be aware that, you know, also our like heritage sometimes is not like super accurate sometimes. Actually, I think XR can fill that gap quite easily. Like I really love the example of the dinosaurs that technically I think my daughter asked me at some point like how people know the colors of the dinosaurs that've been living, in the past, and like the answer is that actually we don't know. But all the pictures they just colored by graphic designers. There's like no accuracy there. They've been just taking, okay, that dinosaur is going to be green and that's going to be, yellow or something like this. So effectively, sometimes it's not. I think that not everyone is aware, but sometimes there are those blank spots that we can still creatively try to fill in. Yeah, and in terms of the question about the platform, yeah, absolutely. It's. I think at the end of the day, if we get back to that, concept of your audience, that's where you should be, right? We've been discussing TikTok. Sometimes, for cultural heritage, is actually that's the platform where you should be because that's where young people are, and if you want to spark their attention, you need to be there. That's the truth. That's why we've been talking about that in the terms of promoting the project, but effectively, if you are promoting a new museum or something like this, you actually want to do the same, right? You want to be there in a place where your audience is. So like if your audience is actually going into the virtual world and trying to create things there, that's exactly where you should be, and that's exactly why this platform I think makes a lot of sense. And as I mentioned, that might be very interesting, like the first contact for person, like with your project, with your concept, maybe with some kind of environmental challenges that have been discussed before, and you start making people aware, and then they can go deeper, like use the portals that we have here or some other solutions, and go deeper into the topic.
Yeah, that's why we have our space here on Spatial and not on Roblox. Our audience is not so young. Yeah, and I'm just happy about that because I don't want to go to Roblox.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yes, too intense for us. Yeah, old folks. What do you think, Oksana, about the future of such platforms like this one, or, for example, Vivers as well?
Yeah. I mean, I would just agree with Marcin. I think this was very well said. And yeah, I do agree that XR in general speaks to younger generations that are like more sensitive to this kind of technologies. And it's also a good portal for education. It's quite an interactive educational and marketing asset. For example, if we have a look in our space, I think we've added one of the portals that goes to the Versailles project that I mentioned earlier, one of our co-productions, like a little glimpse of it can be found on VIVE platform. So if you are interested, you can have a look and just explore it a bit. I think in this instance, it's definitely a very valuable asset, and I can see a future for this kind of formats.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Oksana. And let's move on to Ines. I know it's your first time here and probably first time on such platform. So how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm very new to this. Actually, the first time I tried it was yesterday. We started an online course to teach our volunteers photogrammetry on Engage VR, and I was so impressed, and I can see that everyone was very impressed by it. And it also sort of kind of forces everyone to pay attention because you have to walk around with them in the room, look at all the different screens, gather around and talk about things, which was really exciting. I think there's a really great future for it, and I'll definitely be using it a lot moving forward. And I definitely agree that if this is what you're going to build for, you have to be part of it and you have to use it.
Thank you, Nes. Oh, I see a comment from Chris. Try Fortnite. Seriously, those platforms will be very important to reach young audience. Yes, they actually already are very important. And sometimes I go there and I was like, oh no, it's too intense. It's too bright. Everyone is screaming around me. So, but yeah, I definitely understand we need to go there if we need to reach young audience. Thanks God we don't have
We're
any
actually
kids
building a world
here.
in Fortnite too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're trying. It's just a project that got proposed to us recently, and we have a few volunteers that are working on it to display our models on Fortnite World.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting. I think one day we need to go there too. Yeah. All right. And a serious question for you, our dear guests. What are the main challenges your current projects are facing? Let's start with you, Marcin.
Yeah, so in terms of challenges, yeah, like the one thing is definitely this hype cycle that actually happens. So you need to navigate that well. We've been starting the project when the metaverse concept and all the VR spaces were super hot. So definitely when they cooled down slightly in favor of AI and other things, that was like a quite big challenge. We like needed to address somehow. Of course, we included the AI, but yeah, in general, I think this popularity of the technology and also like the awareness of some challenges put us in the time period where it's like more for building, I would say, and researching. So I think from our perspective, maybe like it makes some sense. But yeah, but definitely in terms of just communicating the project and trying to like find other partners, that's a bit more challenging at the moment. So that's definitely one thing. We face also like a lot of these technical challenges that I mentioned. That's quite interesting. So effectively, like we are not a project that is um, that the main purpose is actually to build like the software in the platform. It's more for experimentation. Uh, but we like while working with all those assets and also like building on top of the Unity platform and adding some kind of new features, it's very visible, how challenging that is and how time consuming that is to actually deliver quite nice results. So yeah, I think still we need to address that somehow as the community around the XR. It's of course now we are more on the research part, but yeah, but definitely. I think now we need some kind of evolution and revolution maybe, in that space to make it much more accessible. You mentioned platforms like Roblox or like Special. They are trying to simplify those things, and you can come up with the words in a bit easier way. But yeah, definitely we need to do much more. One interesting challenge, actually, looking from the European Union perspective, was also access to the like the tools and platforms, but the one of the restrictions we had was that they had to be from the European Union, for example. And that's why actually we are building our own platform, because it was super challenging. Like all the platforms like Spatial and most of the others, they're actually outside of European Union, like based. So I think the like in terms of the worldwide diversity, in terms of the solutions, it also is something that would be great to address in the future, because we have not been able to just legally use platforms from US, for example, or from Middle East or something. We had to use the European Union ones. And but that's also true. Like it was the case for us because we are founded by the European Union program. But on the other hand, when I'm talking to like some bigger companies, they are also like doing their own like due diligence processes and security checks with some kind of vendors. And there's a lot of companies that they're also not ready, for example, to properly provide the services in Europe, like if they are based in US, and like opposite way the same. So yeah, definitely I think a lot of work around that, like technical, challenges plus the accessibility of the software and licenses across the world.
Yes, our XR community is small but very strong.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And what about you, Ines? What are the main challenges your projects are facing? Your main project, for example.
Yeah, I think our biggest problem is slow government processes. This project has been picking up really quickly and it's getting a lot of interest, but it's very slow to work with all the different governments to get approval for all the sites that we go to get official collaboration. They've been really supporting us and they love the project, but everything goes very slowly. And in Tunisia, all the cultural heritage sites are owned by the government. There's nothing private. I would say that's definitely one of the biggest hurdles we're facing right now, but we're making a lot of great progress in it. And hopefully soon everything will be in full collaboration with all the needed sites. And then the second one, and I know you already mentioned it, is weather. It is very, very hot in Tunisia, and it's still hot even though it's November, which usually it's not. So it's been really hard to go to those cultural heritage sites and take scans that don't have a bunch of shadows around them because we're scanning them all outside under the sun. And it's also hard to stay there for extended periods of time because all the volunteers get tired really quickly. So yeah, those are the two biggest challenges we're facing.
Yeah, with the weather same in Dubai actually. You just can't go outside for a long period of time. It's too hot. So, Oksana, what are the main challenges your projects are facing?
I guess I would really agree with you, Ines, and you, Marcin. To me, it seems that the technological world sometimes it's evolving faster than the cultural world, and definitely I can feel you, Ines, about the different regulations and institutions. Working with museum collections, sometimes it's a different pace, it's a different dynamics. So definitely, because we work with a big team of co-producers for every project, definitely there are different points of view, different communication styles. Also, these projects are often global, so we evolve different mentalities and cultural backgrounds. So kind of just like staying on top of everything and making sure that we can achieve the best that's currently possible. That's probably the main goal for us. And of course, this field is often very challenging due to the diversity of everyone inside the project and also different dynamics inside the tech world and cultural world.
So basically, looks like the main problem for all of us is legal restrictions and problems with government. All right. So thank you all so much for this inspiring discussion, and it's been a real pleasure hearing your perspectives today. Huge thanks to our speakers and to everyone who joined us in the virtual space. Thank you all. Let's continue this dialogue, both in spatial and in real life, and see you soon. And thank you all for joining us today.